Hello, what's the good word, everybody? My name is Barack Little. I'm a strength coach as well as CSCS exam prep instructor. Check us out. Subscribe below. Check us out, CSCS Prep. Run with me and Chris of Show Up Fitness. We do live webinars every Monday and Wednesday. Monday is going to be 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Wednesdays are going to be 6 p.m. Pacific or 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also, if you can't be on at those times, we record everything. So if you sign up for the course, you'll be able to check that out. And we also have a full comprehensive study guide with over 200 questions, as well as short flashcards and notes to get you prepared for the exam in a shorter time than you originally planned. Check it out. All right, and today I just wanted to talk a little bit about periodization, more specifically periodization when it comes to athletes and their sports season. As we know, this is very important for every coach, but especially the strength and conditioning coaches, because we have to make sure, we're optimizing our time with our athletes, depending on, what point of the year it is as far as the season, and also what their goals are in this. And so I'm just going to take you through the main phases that CSCS wants you to know. So we have the 4 main periods. We have a preparatory phase, we have a first transition, a competitive period, and the second transition. I'm just going to talk about how these flow within a seasonal landscape. So first and foremost, we're starting out with a preparatory. Obviously, that's going to be, your off season. As the name states, we're preparing for the season. That's going to be, off season. And there are a couple phases into this. It's going to be general prep as well as specific prep. So obviously, this can be a little longer if it's depending on how the sports season is going to vary. But this is typically going to be that period where you're getting in shape, getting things going. So in this period, your general goals, baseline conditioning. So you're establishing that baseline conditioning level, especially if you're an endurance athlete. If you're more of an anaerobic athlete, then you're really establishing hypertrophy, muscle gain. This is where lean muscle mass can really be created here. For example, if you have a lot of times you have younger football players, let's say coming into a college system, they need to gain a lot of weight for their position. Can't really focus on that during the season because you need them playing, you need them focusing on more sport specific things. This is going to be the period you work on that. So that general prep phase, especially, you're going to start off with hypertrophy, or what they call strength and endurance. A lot of volume here. This is where you're going to be lifting a lot. This is more of your bodybuilding phase, as well as establishing that endurance level. Later on in that preparatory phase, as you're getting closer to the season, now you're getting into more specific prep. So instead of that high volume, we're going to lower the volume, increase the intensity a little bit. Now we're focused a little bit more on that, that higher strength, that max strength. We're starting to, test out some maxes, getting close to, 95% of what we're doing. Now also doing more sport specific things. Whereas in the original phase, maybe we weren't working on things such as sport specific agility drills, etc. Now we're going to start that later in the phase. All right, and from there we transition into the first transition period, which is also known as our preseason. So this is going to be really important here, because now we're actually, we're in a window where we're close to that sport. It could be a month to 2 months out if it's a sport that goes half a year. It could be even longer out if it's maybe training for the Olympics, etc. But this preseason phase is going to be really where we're establishing our max strength and power. So that volume is going to kind of drop here, because we really, as we know, intensity and volume is going to have an inverse relationship. Whereas the higher the intensity is, the lower the volume has to be. So therefore, we're increasing the volume in this first transition. Therefore, the volume is going to be a little lower. Now we're obviously doing things more sport specific to the thing. Now practices are going to kick in a little more, so you're having less time with the athlete. So you have to be a lot more efficient in what you're doing. So we're really focusing on optimizing that power. So we're looking at about going at about 80 to 95% of our max when you're talking about max strength as well as power. But if we're doing more, power, like let's say med ball thing, now we're talking maybe 30% of the max instead of that, that 90%. But again, remember here, higher intensity and lower volume in that first transition. From there, we get into the competitive phase. Obviously, this is going to be the season. This is what we've been doing all of this for. So first and foremost, we need to make sure the athletes are at their optimal level to play. So again, they don't need to be overly fatigued, but at the same time, they don't need to be, under challenged as well. So therefore, we need to maintain, because they need to be, maximally powerful if they're playing a power sport. They need to be at their max endurance level if they're doing more of an aerobic sport. So peaking and maintenance are going to be the key things here. What we're doing in these other phases is making sure they're peaking and at their best in this competitive phase. So we're going to we need to optimize them for something like, Olympics. Obviously, we know that it's really like a 2-week period. They need to be peaked. But obviously, we know for sports that are longer, they need to kind of, make this longer. For example, the football season is going to be a few months. So they need to make sure they're maximizing throughout the season, and most importantly, being able to maintain that so they can peak even more in the playoffs. So again, this is going to be about maintenance, high intensity, low volume. You're going to be doing a couple sets, 1 to 2, 3 sets max of, lower reps, probably 2 to 4 reps at about that 80 to 95% range. Because again, you want to maintain the power, strength, and endurance you have without overloading yourself to the point. So again, check, the fitness fatigue paradigm is an important one. Look in your notes at chapter 21 if you want to learn more about that. But again, this is the peaking and maintenance phase. So us as strength and conditioning coaches, we're not going to have an excessive amount of time with them in the weight room, but we need to make sure that they're keeping up everything so they're able to perform optimally. And then finally, the last phase is going to be your second transition. This is your active rest and restoration period. This is going to be much shorter than the others, 1 to 4 weeks max. Again, you don't want this to be over 4 weeks because then that preparatory period is going to be longer, ultimately, because you're going to lose some of the things. This is just more of a restoration. Think of it as just that, reset after a long season. It's like our, lifters think of it as the deload week. This is just, recovering, doing a sport maybe you don't do. Maybe you're a football player that's deciding to go swim for a few weeks, or maybe you're an endurance athlete that's just gonna do some light weightlifting, something different than what you usually do. This is a recovery phase, and again, it's going to be 1 to 4 weeks, ultimately getting back to where we're in our preparatory mode after that. So again, understand how these phases apply to the season. Us as strength and conditioning coaches need to know when can we really focus on changing the body, lean body mass, getting them getting them built or getting them cut. That's going to be your prep phase. Now going into the first transition, preseason and all of that, now we got to get them ready for the sport, but also continually getting them stronger, maximizing strength and power. So this is where we're really going to focus on that the most. Competitive is going to be our end season. Again, we just want to make sure we're maintaining here and peaking, of course. And ultimately, after that, we're going to rest and recover and get ready to do it all again. So make sure you understand these as well as the acute variables. Very important topic, not only for the test, but us as coaches and trainers. All right, see y'all soon.